to the camp of looking at glass half empty. Oh, very honest. Thank you. Okay. So I really find that, I'm really happy to be here to share because I think I've had a pretty blessed life. And for me, whenever you look at your life and you say, hey, have I fucked up or not? It's really about how you look at things. So I brand myself as an ultra optimist. So anything for me, typically, I don't see it as really a fuck up, but really something that you can draw upon. And it's a lifelong discovery of yourself. So that's how I celebrate fuck ups. I'm so happy to be here. Yeah. So if you go on LinkedIn and you look at my profile, you're not supposed to go on the phone right now, yeah, but you would not believe if I tell you that my way of living is actually pretty reckless. So people would not believe that, my life is actually unplanned, pretty unambitious, definitely uncanny. Yeah. So the only thing that I knew when I was young was that I wanted to leave Singapore. And Singapore, I did leave. So I left Singapore at the age of 23, and I only recently came back with some in-between years coming back as well. So, for me, I only was guided by one vision: get out of here. I'm not asking all of you to follow me in my footsteps, but that was very clear for me. And other than that, nothing else was clear. Yeah. So then, for me, what was my guiding principle in living was really always getting your feet wet. Okay, I actually am hydrophobia, so I don't swim. I got drowned nearly twice when I was a kid. But I totally believe in always going out to try something, experience something. Doesn't matter what the consequences are. And so that's the uncanny side of me. So this is actually my first fuck up, which is when I was still in the university. And this is actually my first public divulgence of this fact. Okay, so I was studying at NUS for my Bachelor of Economics with minor in Sociology and Philosophy. And I flung my minor, which is a philosophy. And as a result of that, I had to do one more year in university. So nobody, I think, really knows this. So I don't post it on LinkedIn. Yeah. So you're the only ones who know it. You can start posting, it's fine. Yeah. So at that time, because I come from a very cold family, my brother would actually come into my closet and actually clean up my closet for me. A lot of decisions, you wouldn't believe it, are made for me when I was young, because today nobody makes my decisions, right? So, but at that time, that was the kind of family I was growing up in. And so it was quite a shame, in fact, to bear. And what I learned from it was that, in the end, I found that I was strong enough to withstand that. And I made sure that, I've always worked when I was in university. In the good old days, yeah, when you have no computers in the university and they can't track where you are, you just don't show up. And then what happens is during the exam time, you just show up and then barely pass and that's it. So that's how I got my degree. So that's really, I found out that, you fall in love, you love, so okay, you screwed up, so what? Yeah, so one more year, it didn't kill me. So that was my first real shame in my family. Then my second fuck up, the funny thing is, I don't know if you recognize this building. If you go on I don't know what you call it, the PIE or whatever E, right? It's Costa Roo. So I bought this apartment even before I was 30 years old, before it was even built. Yeah. And then I sold it at 50% off. So it's a fuck up, right? It's a real fuck up. Because I bought it at a time where Singapore real estate was probably at its highest. So it's Far East organization, and then I sold it 50% off when Singapore property prices were at its lowest. It's never hit that bottom. So you're probably wondering, what stupid person, why did she do it, right? You wouldn't believe why I did it. It was really for no good reason. And I was paying 11% interest rate, in case you don't understand. In the good old days, it's 11% interest rate. Right, then I should actually show you another picture, right? Because I made the same mistake in Hong Kong, where I bought an apartment on Discovery Bay, also maybe at the age of 30, yeah, when I arrived in Hong Kong on the day of handover, 30th June 1997. And then I did the same thing, I sold it at half off again. By the way, it is okay, you know, in life you realize you make the same mistake more than once. This thing about learning from mistakes, bullshit, forget it, right? So, and then you're going to keep making this mistake. Well, later on in life, thankfully, I made some profit from Beijing, you know, I still hold on to a New York apartment, something like that, but really, those were very, very heavy losses because I just named you 2 major cities, right, where housing is the most expensive. So what I discovered about myself, again, you know, I'm really cavalier, kind of like money is not as important as it may seem like. But of course, you know, I was making very good money. I was making so good money that I never knew how much money was in my bank. But having said that, it's almost like maybe I worked for 5 years or 7 years for free. By the way, you know how stupid I was even? I mean, more stupid and more fucked up. I should use the word fucked up more, right? was that this Costa-Roo apartment, because I was out of Singapore, it was 7 years vacant. So I didn't even make rental income because I was so attached to it, right? So after that, okay, this lesson I learned, don't be too attached. Then, okay, so I didn't really give you a little background of what I used to do, right? So I've worked for technology companies like Acer, IBM, Digital, brands that you now don't even see, 3Com, and then I launched the first Windows smartphone with O2 throughout Asia Pacific. I was also the first general manager of Yahoo in Singapore way back. Yeah, and then my last corporate stint, I was a CMO of CSL in Hong Kong, which is the equivalent of M1. Yeah, so all that corporate life, but most of my career I spent in Hong Kong. But what I realized after, so by the way, I am retired, technically speaking. So, and this is my second or third retirement, I don't know. So when I first retired, right, so then I started getting into retail just for fun. This was because I realized that as an expat in Hong Kong, we don't know Hong Kong. We just keep traveling in and out of Hong Kong. So then when I decided to get into retail, then I really understand Hong Kong people and the pulse of Hong Kong. Right? So like, for example, you go and want to rent a shop for retail, and as a Singaporean, you get really, it's very unnerving. You go like, why do I need to tell you that I'm going to take this shop right now? Why do I need to give you an answer this minute, right? They say, well, because if you don't, someone else is going to snap it. So after 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, you better believe it. It is true. So that's how Hong Kong operates. So I'm crazy about knowledge, you know. So this kind of knowledge just thrills me, right? But it's stupid again because it means that I lost a lot of money. This was really my shop. So if you know the Hong Kong escalator, the longest escalator in the world, when you go up the escalator, you will see you would have seen my shop in that year. Okay, so spent too much money on decor, and so that went to loss. Okay, so eventually I got out of retail when I see that e-commerce was going up. So there was just no room for me. Now then, what happened was, of course, I was retired, very happily retired. I went to New York to look for a husband, which I did. Okay. That's not a fuck up. Right? That's not a fuck up. So then I did that, yeah. So I wasn't really looking to go back to corporate, but to be honest, a lot of my friends would constantly, you know, kind of buzz and say, you know, if you hadn't quit O2, who would you have been today? If you haven't quit CSL, you know, all that. So I keep hearing this. So anyway, one day I got a project from Jobs TV just through a 10-minute phone call. Okay, I got a very big project and I had to kind of audit all the business and marketing and sales throughout Southeast Asia. Yeah, so that was fuck up 4. I suspended for a while because it's related to fuck up 5. Right? So fuck up 5 was somebody who was very, very close and a strong supporter of my work, pitched me to Google. So I went for a Google interview. Right? So for both these cases, what happened was I really didn't perform. Right? So I embarrassed, in fact, the person who recommended me because the guy said it's not possible. You know, you did not shine at the interview. You really did not even share what you really know, right? So I realized that maybe it's just because I really don't want to go back to corporate. So that was it, you know. And even with Job CV was the same thing. I acted too cool, and it's like when they say, yeah, do you want a job? Do you want a job? I go, oh, you know, let me think about it, etc. So therefore, you know, that was it. The doors to corporate since then, you know, closed, and I know that that's not what I want. So sometimes it's okay, you know, you go there and you try, and then you figure out that's really not what you want. Okay, so then one of the fuck-ups that as I look back, you know, because when I came back to Singapore September 2016, I came back to no network. Right? I don't know who to call. I don't know who I can ask for any help. And so that's when I realized that, you know, networking is really so important. So you being here, take the opportunity to meet as many people, because I was working so hard, 7 days a week, you know, flying a lot in the region, etc. Is that 2 minutes or 10 minutes?
You have 1 minute left.
Okay, right. So then because of that, I realized that, you know, I didn't spend time networking. So now coming back to nothing, and after being retired the second time, etc., right? So it is very unnerving. The older you get, that's going to be more and more difficult, right? But it was also good that because of no network, I really can empathize with a lot of people, that it is not easy. So I made a comeback, and since then I've built more than one community with women, you know, startup women, with corporate women, and really my role in life is to be a bridge, right, between corporates and startups. So if you want to get to know me better, you can actually find me either in startups or corporate women. And then before I let you go, or let myself go, is I want you to take home 3 lessons, right, really. So one of the things that have really worked for me is bet. Don't worry, believe. If you believe that you can make it, that it's something that's worth trying, go ahead. You will be surprised how much more you're going to discover. But along the way, don't forget to smell the roses. Really, you know, observe, learn as much as you can. And then as you grow older, which is now in my state, right, I find that you don't need to look at things in the conventional way. Rise above. Every time you get into a crisis, every time you get into something that you're not very sure about, or every time somebody has betrayed you, or, you know, you screwed up, you fucked up, just rise above. Look at it from a different angle, and probably you can find something valuable to take away. Okay, so really for me right now is my next big goal is to write a book at 55, which is next year, and it will be about my personal life, and it's all themed around whatever I just started to talk about, which is change the way you look at things, and you will find that your life will be quite different.